Question 1. Why did early American citizens need to create a law system in the United States after several years? In their system, the concept of law and justice was discussed. What are the key differences? So first of all, they needed to create a new system because everything they had up until that point was based off of religion, and not everybody was the same religion, and they really prided themselves on having freedom of religion. It was a big reason why many of them moved to the United States, so it was important that not everything was based off of one singular religion. The difference between law and justice is that law is a set of rules that you can actually enforce with a governing body. There are actual things put in place that you must follow, while justice is more based on your ethical beliefs and opinions. Question 2. Apply the checks and balances system of the United States Constitution to the appointment of a Supreme Court justice. What checks are in place and what actions can take place? Why is there debate over the replacement of Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Why do some people want it after the election and some people want it before? And I'll give you a hint, not liking President Trump is not a correct answer. Okay, so first, to become a Supreme Court justice, you need a nomination from the president, and then that goes to a vote in the Senate, and the Senate, based on simple majority, will either confirm or deny that person as a Supreme Court justice. So that's one of the checks that are in place. There's a lot of debate over it right now because some people believe that Joe Biden, if he wins, should select the new Supreme Court justice, and some people believe that President Trump has the right to do it right now. There's a lot of debate over it because Ruth Bader Ginsburg sided more on the liberal side and specifically for pro-choice. And right now, Trump has the opportunity to place somebody on the Supreme Court who could overrule that and change the decision of Roe v. Wade, which has caused a lot of debate right now. So because of that, many people are debating who should have the choice of the new Supreme Court justice. Because if it's Biden, it's likely that Roe v. Wade would not be overturned, but if it is Trump who makes the decision, it's likely that it would be overturned. Question 3, we'll take one part at a time. So if the case was tried in the state of Pennsylvania, what court system would it most likely begin in, assuming both individuals are from the city of Philadelphia? So because both individuals are from Philadelphia and because the accident happened in Philadelphia, this would go to the Pennsylvania state court system, and that would be a civil case. Should Matt be found guilty of negligence? If so, what elements are needed to prove his guilt, and how would they be applied in this case? So the 4 elements of negligence are duty, breach of duty, causation, and damages. So in this case, we can start with duty, where Matt did have the duty as the driver to protect the pedestrians with his driving. And then there was a breach of duty when he drove carelessly because he was upset about the Eagles' loss when he drove into the pedestrian, so he did breach his duty when he did that. Next is causation, which means there was an actual injury, and there was, as the other person involved broke their leg. And then, of course, there is damages that can be payable, and in this case, Matt could pay for his medical bills, so there is actually something that he could be held accountable for. So in this case, I can say that Matt should be found guilty of negligence. The Rams fan is seeking $48,000 in compensation for his medical bills. If awarded, what type of damages would this be considered? These are compensatory damages that Matt would be paying because the damages occurred immediately at the time of the accident, as opposed to consequential damages where the damages occur later on down the road. The initial belief is that Matt is guilty of negligence and will be 80% at fault. How much money will the Rams fan be awarded? Defend your dollar amount. So I believe that the Rams fan will receive all $48,000 in damages because the case is being tried in Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is a modified comparative negligence state, meaning that if you are more than 50% at fault for the accident, you must pay all of the damages. So because Matt is more than 50% at fault, he will have to pay all of the damages to the Rams fan. Krista and Matt are at home arguing about who is overspending on the monthly budget. Unfortunately, things get heated and Krista grabs her softball bat and begins to take a swing at Matt. Fortunately, Matt does not get hit and both parties are able to calm down and refocus. Did a crime take place in this situation? If so, what elements will be needed to prove guilt? So in this case, it is only an assault, not battery, because Matt was not actually hit. It is not a battery case. But to prove assault, we would have to prove that there was a genuine threat upon Matt's safety, and in this case there was, because Krista was threatening him with the bat and attacking him with the bat, but there was no contact, so there is no battery charge. Title IX has evolved since its initial creation in 1972, as several cases have shaped and developed the law over the years. What are the key cases that helped to create the precedent that is applied today in high schools, colleges, and universities? What was the final ruling or outcome that came from each case? So the first one I'm going to talk about is Grove City College versus Bell, which occurred in 1984 when Grove City College claimed that they didn't have to follow the rules of Title IX. And what happened from that case then was that a precedent was set that any organization that receives federal funding must follow those rules of Title IX. And then in 1988, there was a Civil Rights Restoration Act, which changed the rule that it wasn't just the part of the organization that received the federal funding has to follow Title IX, but it's if any part of your organization receives federal funding, then all parts of the organization must follow the laws of Title IX. So the next case I want to talk about occurred in 1979. The case was Cannon versus the University of Chicago, when a female student sued the University of Chicago because she was believed that she was not admitted into the school because of her gender. And the big thing that came from this case was that it showed that there was a private right for people to sue organizations due to Title IX violations. So the next case that I wanted to discuss is in regards to history and accommodation when it comes to Title IX. Basically, that means it shows that your organization is making progress each year to becoming more Title IX compliant. And we discussed how it was pretty rare to be sued for this, but there was a case in 1988. It was Boucher versus Syracuse University. And this just provided precedent for what to do on how to rule on cases involving showing progress towards becoming more Title IX compliant. And eventually this case was ruled in favor of Syracuse University, but it did give a lot of precedent for future cases.